my eyes, the Raiders are obviously moving on from Derek Carr, because all those rumors about Brady, bringing Mariota. Williams, in my eyes, isn't a clear cut wide receiver one. They also need help in the secondary. They brought in Eli Apple, but something fell through with that contract. I have their needs as D line, quarterback, linebacker, and cornerback.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, cornerback is definitely a big one. Based on how we have the board, I like CeeDee Lamb to them because they really need that wide receiver. Like you said, Williams isn't your ideal wide receiver one by any means. So I think he'd be really good in that West Coast, like Gruden offense where he can get open quick and then use his acceleration.
And it was funny, like, you were talking about speed wide receiver, like you and I look at Ruggs both ways. There was like this time when the Raiders every year for the first round would just take the fastest wide receiver on the board. I mean, so anytime I think of fast
Darius
wide,
Hayward Bay.
Oh, exactly. Anytime I think of fast wide receivers, like, I immediately think of the Raiders. But let's plug in Lamb here. I like that fit. Now, the next team we got the 49ers. The 49ers have 2 picks. They got this pick when they traded Buckner to the Colts, which it basically came down to who you want to play, Buckner or Armstead. They chose Armstead. Traded Buckner. They have a pick 13 and pick 31, but then they have no picks rounds 2 through 4. Plus they have like 5 million running backs on their roster too. So I know they're going to trade back and look to add some draft capital. I just don't. Part of me thinks they do use this pick and then trade the 31st pick. But
that's what I think they do.
Yeah. And then I have their needs as wide receiver, defensive line, cornerback, and safety.
Yep, those are all my same needs.
So basically, do you look to replace Buckner and Cake Kinlaw here? Do you add Ruggs? Or do you go C.J. Henderson?
I see a lot of 49ers fans mad at the thought of taking Kinlaw because they're like, they just traded an all-pro defensive tackle. But that's just the modern NFL. You got to, like, clear up space. It's
a salary cap league.
Yeah, you got to. So I think Kinlaw's the pick here.
All right, so
especially if he's still there on the board. You know?
All right, so let's go Kinlaw. I like that kid a lot. And now the team that I will personally be betting against the most in the NFL next year, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They're basically in a win now scenario with Brady coming in. I mean, everything they're doing right now is putting Brady in the situation to win. I think they need an O-line with Brady not being able to throw the ball down the field anymore. They need a pass-catching running back. They need a tight end. All these rumors with O.J. Howard leaving, plus their secondary, cornerback, and safety. What do you think about the Bucs?
I think they're overhyped. I think they might make the wild card, but even then, it's going to be tough. That NFC South division is pretty tough. Brady's just not a great fit for what they do.
He can't throw the ball down the field.
Attack.
He can't throw the ball down the field. Like, their offense is, you want to stretch the field, and he can't throw it down the field.
Yeah, that's not his game, especially at the age he's at. Like, I don't know. People just see the names and think it's going to work, but there's a learning curve that they're going to have to get over.
And plus, there's no OTAs, so he's not going to have the timing with any of those guys either. So I think they should go O-line here, but obviously, on what we have right now, the best O-lineman on the board
Austin Jackson would be a reach.
Austin Jackson, which would be an insane reach. They could trade down here, but if they were to trade down, I really don't think anyone would really want to trade up with them, to be honest with you.
Yeah, is there any... Let me see.
Yeah, I really don't see any team.
Let's look. Is there any teams that might want Henry Ruggs trade up?
I mean, the Broncos wouldn't flip one pick to get Ruggs.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, so I just don't see. I just don't see how they could, you know, get out of this pick unless I don't. Let me put it. I don't see who would want to trade up for this pick. It's kind of in that dead zone of picks. Let's go. I mean, is there any way they don't go O line here?
There's no edge rusher. No. Hey.
I mean, they could go.
The board would not break well for them if this is how it actually turned out.
I mean, they do need help in the secondary. They could go C.J. Henderson.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go with that. I guess. That's the best player. One of the best players.
I mean, all right. So now we got the Broncos. Broncos are another squad I am very high on going into next year. I saw their 17-year power rankings. I really like Drew Lock, and I like him because the way he steps into his throws and he's transferring his weight from his right foot to his left foot. Losing Chris Harris is obviously going to hurt the secondary. I feel, however, if the O-line can stay healthy, I actually think they can challenge the Chiefs in the West, and they do have a bell cow running back by adding Melvin Gordon now. I really like what they're doing, and then you throw in Pat Shurmur, and Pat Shurmur is one of those guys that is showing he's a really good coordinator.
Yeah, say whatever you want about him as a head coach, but as a coordinator, Pat Shurmur is very talented at his job.
Now, I think they need a wide receiver to go along with Cortland Sutton, and in the Shurmur offense, they do run a lot of play action and look to go vertical. Ruggs is still on the board.
I agree. Like, Ruggs, I don't agree with him as a top 15 wide receiver, but in this scheme, I think he would fit perfectly. Drew Lock has got a cannon of an arm, likes to throw deep. I think he'd fit very well with this offense.
Okay, so let's put in Ruggs here. I think it'd be a good fit too. All right, so now we're going to the Falcons. I like the personnel the Falcons have on offense, but I hate Dirk Cutter. And watching them last year, it was really weird because they would get up and then they'd play fast, and then when they're behind, they'd play slow. And that made no sense to me. And that was and they were one of the teams. They were just finding ways to lose games during the season too.
Yeah.
Their defense lost Trufant, Beasley, and Campbell. And I really think they need to build with the defense. I think they need a pass rusher. They need help in the secondary. They need help with the linebackers. What do you think?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that defense was just a train wreck last season.
Yeah.
They could just use a lot of help in a lot of places. I would really like if C.J. Henderson fell to them, like in the actual draft, but I think he'd fit well.
I love C.J. Henderson. I think in terms of a player you're going to get outside the top 10 that's going to come in and contribute right away, I think he's got to be at the top of the list.
Mm-hmm. And
go ahead.
I feel like people that don't like him just try to point to the tackling, but he's such a good cover corner. Like, he has lockdown potential.
Oh yeah, for sure. He can lock down anybody. And when they made the switch, oh my God, I'm spacing on the name. The guy that used to coach the Bucs, he was on the offensive side of the ball last year. Then they switched him to the secondary, Johnson. The guy, he used to be the head coach of the Bucs, and then he was the tight end coach. And then last year after the bye, they switched him to the secondary coach. He's taking over as a defensive coordinator now. And I really feel like with Henderson being 6 feet tall and his long arms, like you said, he's going to be a lockdown cornerback. But unfortunately, he's off the board now, so he can't be here. I kind of like. What do you think of Clavon?
Yeah.
Or is that
Jason from LSU?
Yeah, is that too big of a stretch there? Do you think they'll go? I think AJ I can't even pronounce that last name.
Epinesa.
Yeah, you can't take him at 16. Can you?
Yeah, I feel like Jason. I feel like some team is going to fall in love with his athleticism, and he's for sure going in the top 20 picks. So I'm fine with him going.
Okay. All right, so let's take him. All right, so this brings us up to the Dallas Cowboys. Personally, I feel that the window has closed on the Cowboys. Losing Quinn, losing Jones, Frederick retiring. They paid Cooper all that money. They paid Elliott all that money. Plus, the question is, Prescott's really the guy. I'm really down on this Cowboys team. And plus, you're adding in Mike McCarthy, and I feel when you add in a coach that's been out of the game for a year, you don't know what he's been doing in that year. He's just been sitting on his ass and eating. Is he been around the game? I have O-line, D-line, cornerback, wide receiver, and tight end and pass rusher as their needs. What do you have?
Yeah, cornerback, wide receiver. They definitely need a pass rusher. I thought about Jason to them before, looking ahead. I think they would take him if he fell.
I kind of feel like the Falcons and Cowboys are kind of like the same team. You know what I mean?
I can see that. Yeah.
All right, so
who's your cornerback 3?
My cornerback 3. Hold on. Let me get my list up here. Out of everything I have in front of me, my personal listings are the one things I don't have. My cornerback number 3.
Because I think I had Fullerton. Christian Fullerton.
Yeah, I had Fullerton. I had Fullerton number 3. Who'd you have?
Yeah, I have Fulton number 3. I think he's could fit in well. The value. I think it starts to make sense here. It might be a slight reach, but I think it's fine because Fulton's a good player.
Yeah, I think he's going to be good. They could actually trade for Adams, but let's put in, and that would just boost that secondary because that secondary does need help. So they add Fulton.
Adams. He's one of my favorite
and Adams. That'd be a pretty good. All right, so let's put Fulton here. All right, so now we're gonna go to the Dolphins. We kind of went over what they need and everything. We had them trading up for Herbert, which we both think is a stretch and think they should build with the offensive line. Just to recoup, we said they needed a quarterback, a running back, O-line, safety, and linebacker help here. Do you think this is where Austin Jackson comes off the board to kind of protect the young quarterback, or do you think they go someplace else?
I'd be surprised if they didn't take an offensive lineman here. Whoever's left on the board, unless it's Ezra Cleveland. I think they think about Austin Jackson here.
All right, so let's go Austin Jackson. And then now we are back to the Raiders. The Raiders are another team we've talked about. We said they need a defensive line, cornerback, linebacker, and cornerback. We had them take C.D. Lamb, a wide receiver, another need, which I forgot to mention. Where do you think they go here? Do you think this is kind of where we see a run on cornerbacks, or do you think they look to go someplace else?
Yeah, I think A.J. Terrell out of Clemson, he really fits their scheme, and he's that tough, gritty cornerback that they kind of like and want.
Do you feel, though, like with him struggling so much against LSU, that's going to hurt his draft stock? Or
that's what I thought, but I've been reading up a lot, and teams like him. They're not too concerned because they consider Jamar Chase like an NFL caliber wide receiver already.
Yeah.
So I've seen a couple mocks where he goes at 19.
Yeah, honestly,
it makes sense.
I like him too. I really feel like just looking at one game to judge somebody, isn't the best thing. And he was being touted a lot higher. I think whatever team ends up getting him is going to be pleasantly surprised, and they'll probably end up getting him at a discounted price too compared to where he was going at the beginning of the year. So let's put in AJ here. Okay, so now we're to the cluster known as the Jags, another team that we already kind of talked about. Quarterback, running back, O-line.